Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another creator interview. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by writer and artist Jack Markham. How are you, Jack?
I'm good, Stephen. Thank you for having me on.
No bother. So, today we're going to be talking about your graphic novel, Pirate Hunter. So, we'll start off with could you give the listeners a brief rundown of what Pirate Hunter is all about and what kind of tone they can expect from the book?
If I was to sum it up in about in a couple of sentences, I would say that it is a graphic novel fantasy that I started in 2018, and I started it thinking that it would just be a 20-page one-issue comic that I was doing for fun. But then, as soon as I got to chapter two, I was kind of invested on where these characters were going. So I continued it on, and it went from 20 pages to 170 because I kept having ideas. And once I finished it, after the 3 years of illustrating that I spent on it, it took maybe another 3 years to put it all together and perfect it and scan it in PDFs and all the digital stuff. And then I went on and made a deal with a printing firm, and they gave me a price to print 100 copies. I got the money together in about 6 months and got my 100 copies, and now it's on sale as of December. And there's 100 copies out there of the first edition. 65 of them are already in the shops. There's 8 different shops currently in Ireland. No, sorry, 7 different shops in Ireland selling it right now, and one shop in Northern Ireland that's selling it. And
Fantastic.
I'll tell you all about them in a little while. They've been absolutely legends to deal with, the whole lot of them, and they've been very supportive when I've been bringing the book to them.
That's
Uh,
fantastic.
I think the best reviews I'm getting from the book on the website and on the Instagram tend to be from teenagers to people in their early 20s.
Yeah.
And also, it's strange because I never really pictured what kind of demographic that I was going for with the book. When I finished it, I was like, okay, wait, who the hell is this for? What age group is this for? But then I remembered that my philosophy when I started it was from, I saw this clip of Stan Lee saying, don't write for anyone else, write what you think is cool, and then odds are someone else will find it cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the target demographic is really at the moment, because it seems to be spanning different age groups.
So it seems to
Um,
have a broad appeal.
oh yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's even I've heard of some parents who have bought it in the town where I'm from, Skerries, saying that they're reading it to their kids, and their kids are asking them to reread chapters with them, and it's like helping them understand the format of comics. And sure, that's such a victory, really, to hear that, because if it can get young children into comics, uh, for me personally, when I was a young child, I was not a great reader at all. I couldn't read any books, or even in school, I just couldn't focus on, like, if the teacher gave me a paragraph or asked me to write an essay, I just wouldn't be bothered. It's only when I started picking up like Batman comics and Spider-Man comics, I actually figured out, right, these images are helping me visualize the things that I'm reading. And all the way through my teenage years, I spent reading comics and graphic novels, and now I'm reading all these big book series now, and I have all these books behind me now that I've fully read. And if you asked me to do that now, if I'd never gotten into comics in the first place, it never would have been possible.
Yeah.
So they've helped me learn how to read and read long format books and articles and things that I read online. And I have to say that if there are teachers out there who say that comics don't belong in the classroom, give your head a wobble, because they help. They really do help kids learn how to read, in my experience, anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it might
Yeah.
even like draw them in if they're reluctant to want to sit down and read. At least you have like the imagery that can draw you in and stuff like that. It might, it might get kids interested for sure.
Yeah, I really think they do belong in the classroom, especially the fact that when I was researching other Irish graphic novel and comic book creators, I realized quickly that a lot of Irish graphic novels are written about Irish history and mythology. And
Yeah.
so I've read stories like the story of Cuchulainn and Grace O'Malley and the Children of Lear in graphic novel form. So why wouldn't you want to teach that to kids if
Yeah,
they're having trouble reading. Like, you're not going to,
yeah,
a young kid isn't going to read a 700 fucking page about the Children of Lear, but they'll read the comic of it for
yeah.
sure.
And there's this thing that really bothers me where there's like this hierarchy where, books are above comics, but some comics you read are as good as any book you'd read for sure.
Uh, yeah, I mean, like there's some graphic novels and comics that I've read that I would genuinely class as masterpieces.
Yeah,
Because if you've read like the Dark Knight Returns and Kingdom Come, I like you can't go back from them. It's like, they're top notch.
yeah,
There's other ones like and well, I will say that a lot of these start as single issue series, but then they're sold in graphic novel form.
yeah,
But even the likes of Watchmen, like when Watchmen came out and when the Dark Knight Returns came out, they revolutionized how people seen superheroes.
yeah,
And superheroes haven't been the same since. Like we know that Batman hasn't been the same since the Dark Knight Returns because he went from Adam West, all light, campy, and goofy, to Michael Keaton, and that's owed to the Dark Knight Returns. He darkened this character. He says, okay, his parents are dead, right? That's a tragedy. Let's feed this tragedy.
yeah,
Let's go into it and take it seriously rather than just have him and Robin punching bad guys and having Pow and WAP on the screen. You know,
yeah. You can
um,
have more depth.
Watchmen definitely changed the superhero game as well because I really don't believe that The Boys would exist without Watchmen. Um, I think it was no, I don't know what the creator of The Boys has to say about this, but I would assume that he read Watchmen and read the whole what if superheroes were in the real world and the real world consequences of this in the 1980s and said, right, what if we did this modern day in corporate America? And both of them work to their own merit.
Yeah.
Did you get me? Yeah. I forget what your question was, to be honest. I
But
just kind of
that's
I just
okay.
kind of rambled there.
That's the power of comics. They just
Yeah, I
um
mean, they can change the way you see things. I mean, when Civil War came out, that was the first time that all the superheroes in Marvel were on one side or the other, and they were battling each other. And after that, Injustice came out, and the Injustice games, in my opinion, are the first one's brilliant. The second one is all right. It's not as good as the first one, but
yeah.
the Injustice comics years 1 through 5 um are really good. I think they get a bad rap, but I go back to them and they're excellent. And I think they're influenced from Civil War.
Yeah.
You know,
So one
um,
one thing I noticed from reading your book is that it comes across as though you had a lot of fun drawing it. Um there's one scene in particular that it's full of creative action scenes, which I think is great. Very dynamic. There's one scene in particular. Without spoiling anything, it starts off with there's a caption that says, "Perhaps it's time we mix it up a bit." I thought that sequence was really fun and creative. Did you enjoy drawing the book as much as it seemed like you did?
oh yeah, I love drawing it. I mean, I look at it now and I'm looking like way back. The first ever picture I drew in this book was the castle on top of the hill in the very first panel of the very first page. Um, because what happened was, now I'm going to give credit to, I was in animation college at the time in Coolosh in Coolock, and I was given an assignment where you know how in a hand-drawn 2D animated movie there's a big panoramic shot that shows the location that they're in.
Right.
It was, we had to get 3 A4 pages and duct tape them together vertically, flip it over and draw a big giant landscape. And I drew this castle in the corner of the page, and I was kind of like, Jesus, I'd love to kind of see what happens in that castle. So I kind of deviated from the assignment a bit, and the assignment was given to me by a friend of mine, Jolene, who was the lecturer, and she's a legend, so I'll give her a shout out. She was one of the first people to buy the book off the website, so I feel inclined to mention her just because it was
Yeah.
her assignment that started this book.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really did enjoy it, and a lot of it was. To be honest, I have a bit of a confession. I didn't plan much of this story.
That was
I
going to
just
be
had
one of my
ideas.
yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, like what was the outlining process like? Like, you know, some people like to plan really meticulously in detail, and other people like to go in with a very rough outline and sort of see where the story goes. So you seem to take that approach where you seem to have like a rough idea of where things were going to go, but not exactly a really detailed plan.
Uh, yeah, no, I didn't have a plan at all, really. I mean, I was drawing. Yeah, that's my biggest confession with Pyro Hunter is that it just came to me as I went along.
Do
Like
you
I
know
said
what?
earlier, I started.
Some great
Go on.
stories are done that way.
Well, look, I mean, I planned it to be a 20 issue comic, or 20 page comic where this guy gets paid a bounty to find this pirate. So he sets sail and goes to find him, and then the pirate is attacking the city, and then there's going to be a big battle, and he's going to kill him, and he's going to win, and it's all a happy ending in 25 pages. And then I was like, okay, right, we're at the city. The city's getting destroyed. I've introduced this demon character who's cursed, and now I have three main characters that I kind of want to give an arc to. So there was days and weeks where I was planning the pirates arc, and I was planning the bandits arc, and then I was planning the demons arc, and I was like, right, I can't finish this now in 25 pages. I really
Yeah.
have to keep going because I'm invested in my own comic as I'm writing it.
So you're just as excited to see what happens next.
Kind of, yeah. And then
Which is a
it
good
just came to me bit by bit. Like the scenes in there, like the bit that you mentioned where he's in the mines and he's fighting the slavers, and it says perhaps it's time we mix it up a bit. And I give them life bars, and I make the comic into a kind of video game thing for a page. That just came to me that day. I didn't even. I was like, if I leave this out, I'm going to regret it.
It's like this awesome
But
quick time event.
yeah, I mean, like I have like R1 finish, like B evade, like I'm putting buttons in from controllers.
I thought that was awesome, but
But
then when you read that, you're like, oh, you know, where else is this story going to go? You know?
yeah, like the whole life bar thing. It's one of these times where I'm pretty sure now, if I'm remembering this correctly, that whole scene where he's in the mines, it goes on for about 15 pages, but that wasn't part of the original plan.
Right.
To be honest, I was looking for an interesting way to bring the bandit up the mountain without him just climbing the mountain. And I was like, right, I'll send him into like a tunnel that leads to a mines. There's slaves there, so it turns into this big action set piece.
Yeah.
So a lot of these ideas just came from the top of my head, like at the time of writing it.
But it works
that's why it. Thanks. And that's kind of why it's such a long book, but it's all necessary looking back. I think they helped us. They add rather than subtract the scenes that just came to me in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. So how many volumes do you plan with Pirate Hunter?
Well, you heard it here first.
Oh,
This is going to be a trilogy.
fantastic.
I have the second book right in front of me right now, and that first one took me 3 years to illustrate and another 3 years to distribute and get it into the shops like it is now. This one, I imagine, is going to be out in 2026 on shelves because with the first one, I had no idea what I was doing, if I'm being completely honest. So I just fell into every single pothole along the way that a writer can fall into. And that's why it took so long. With this one,
a lot of us can relate to that for sure.
Yeah, but now I know what I'm at, and I have all these people who I'm in talks with, like the printing firm and all these different shops, and I know how to do it. So it's not going to take half as long as the last one did.
That's brilliant. So the second one is complete, and you're just trying to get it out there?
Not fully complete. I would say I'm about 60% done. But with the second one, with the first one, like I said, a lot of it was kind of not planned at all, and it just happened in my mind. I put it on page and I put it together, and luckily it worked. There's a lot of deleted scenes that I left out because they were just trash.
But it's good you can recognize that, because I find when people are creating their own stuff and they're not working with an editor, they can tend to have a lot of stuff in there that maybe shouldn't. So you need to be able to go, nah, that should go, that should go.
Yeah, there was I have a folder of deleted scenes from both Pirate Hunter and the continuation, the second one, and I will just say that this second book I think is going to be the greatest thing I ever write.
Right.
And I don't want to brag about it, but as a writer, you know when you have lightning in the bottle, it's like the lightning in the bottle moment.
Yeah.
This one, I set the bar very high with the teaser that I left at the end of Pirate Hunter.
Yeah.
Because at the end of Pirate Hunter, there is a teaser for the second book, and I had to go from the ending of Pirate Hunter to this giant, horrible villain that they're going to have to face in the second one. And so with the second one, you learn a bit more about the lore. I expand the world way bigger than just the one or two locations you see in Pirate Hunter. So we're going to about 3 or 4 or 5 main locations in this one. You find out that Ironstone, the location Pirate Hunter is set in, is part of this giant continent that they're not part of that empire, right? So the Emperor sees what is happening, and our main characters have to go back to this empire, even though they're very highly wanted here. So everyone's searching for them, but it blows up the world. And yeah, I am going to do the trilogy, but I think this second one is going to just if anyone enjoyed the first one, I promise you, the second one is not going to disappoint you.
Fantastic. How do you find scripting for a book that you're going to draw? Do you approach it differently than if you were scripting for someone else?
So wait, so let me just make sure I have your question right in my head. So, are you asking me that? Do I find it easier to write my own stuff rather than to write something for someone else?
Yeah. Do you change the process at all, knowing that you're going to be the artist on the book? Do you maybe not put in as much detail or that kind of thing? Do you maybe leave stuff out because you're like, I don't know if I can draw that?
I like a challenge, to be honest.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
recently I done a poster for recently, I say recently, it was only like last week. I done a poster for Poetry Day Ireland, which is an event that's happening in Drogheda, and I'm part of a writers group in Drogheda now, and they approached me, and that they knew I was an artist, so they asked me to do the poster, and I don't know anything about poetry. So I didn't know what the hell to do. So I came up with this idea, and it was a challenge, but I used the same methods that I use when I'm writing comics. I put in a little bit more detail. I kind of punished myself a little bit more because I wanted to really impress whoever's doing it, because I don't know where this poster is going to go, but so my thoughts was this has to be pretty damn good. Pulled out all the stops. Yeah.
Is this
I
your
hope that answers your question.
yeah? Is this your
Yeah.
first project? Have you done anything before? Even just for fun.
My first comic that I drew to completion, like when I was a kid, I did them in copybooks and things like that, but God knows I'll probably never find them. But when I was about 17, I think I drew a comic that was about 25 pages long, and it was called Dawn of the Ducks. It was just complete, it's just a comedy book where
I want to read that.
I think. Well, look, if I could find it somewhere, I don't know where the hell it is, but it's to sum it up, I think Toy Story 3 had just come out. And you know, at the beginning where the pig in Toy Story 3 has this giant robot ship.
Yeah.
I did that, only it was a duck. And it was it was like flying over the city, and it released a lot of these ducks with machine guns and parachutes, and they took over the entire city.
That sounds amazing.
And it was like this zombie film where everyone was locking themselves indoors, and it was a bit of Shaun of the Dead in there. Like people were just shooting these ducks that were flying in through the windows. It was just fucking. It was ridiculous. Like, but that was my first ever comic, and I'd love to show you it if I ever find it. It could be in the attic of my man Dad's house somewhere.
If not, you're gonna have to try and recreate it from memory and get it out there.
I think I possibly could, but there's so many pointless and unnecessary scenes in it that if I wrote it now, I'd just probably just cringe to high heaven, you know.
So you obviously
Yeah.
you wrote this, you drew it, you did the whole thing yourself. Have you ever wanted to collaborate with another writer or artist?
I think so. Yeah, I would like to work with other creatives, and but the thing is, I would rather be the artist than the writer.
I was just going
So
to
if
ask
someone
that.
came
Yeah,
to me, yeah, if someone came to me with an amazing script for a book, I would happily illustrate it, but they would be in control of the text boxes more than I would, because if it's their story, I want them to be happy with my character designs that I do up for them in their descriptions. It's just so I have this plan in front of me, and then I can just go wild with it,
yeah,
with artwork. Because I sit up, like, God, my girlfriend hates the one. She's going to hate me for saying this, but like 3 or 4 nights a week, I will stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning
wow,
just drawing, because
yeah,
I can't switch my brain off at night. But it's not a massive problem. Like, I've always kind of struggled sleeping, but I don't sit up 2 or 3 in the morning writing. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I have a much better grip on my artwork now than,
yeah.
say, if I was to just sit there lettering all night. That'd do me head in, because the lettering was out of everything on the page. The lettering is the bit that I probably enjoyed the least,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
had to get good at it, and I was like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Lettering's another one of those sort of underrated skills, isn't it?
I can see why comic book companies hire letterers, because I had to start with when I started Pirate Hunter. I think it was like 3 chapters before I found out that there's a tool you can get to help you letter comic book uh, sound effects when you're drawing them, and comic book lines. And it's a tool. If any comic book artists are listening and you're struggling with your lettering, there is a tool called the Alvin Ames Lettering Guide. Now,
Awesome.
how these geometry sets have like a 60-degree and like a 90-degree set square. It's a bit like a set square, but you sit it on a T square, and it has a circle in the middle with all the different measurements of lines and between lines in holes in the piece of geometry. So you put your pencil on it and you run it along a ruler, and it just does these lines perfectly. And that's how I learned how to letter. And now it's at the point where I don't need it anymore.
Right,
Um, so that tool, if you get one, they're very cheap. You can get them on eBay for maybe a tenner or something.
right.
They will definitely help you letter your books better.
Nice.
Yeah.
What so we've mentioned a few comic books already, but are there any comic books in particular that have had an influence on Pirate Hunter?
uh, I would say Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns is definitely one of them. I really like him as an artist, to be honest. I would say he's responsible for revolutionizing the Batman, Daredevil, and Wolverine
Yeah.
for sure. He changed those characters forever, and you see his influence. Like, he did Year One as well, and if you watch Batman Begins and you read Year One, it's like, okay, I know where you got that scene, I know you got this scene. It's like a lot of it is
Yeah.
like, and if you watch Batman versus Superman, you're like, oh right, that's from Dark Knight Returns, that's from Dark Knight Returns. Loads of it is
Yeah.
just Frank Miller revolutionized loads of it, and he's an artist that I really admire. Like, Daredevil Born Again is just insanely good, and that's one of his, and it's like from the 80s or 90s, I think. I can't remember the exact year, but he's an artist who very much influenced me. Another one was I would say Bruce Timm.
Yeah.
um he was him and his team created Batman the Animated Series, which was a show that I grew up with, and I still go back to it.
I'm rewatching it
Mask of the
on
Phantasm.
Netflix.
Yeah, oh, it's just I'm so happy it's on Netflix, because I have the DVD, sorry, box sets, but the Netflix is so handy because you can just watch them episode after episode.
Yeah, yeah. And there's
It's
like
great.
so many great episodes.
Yeah, I would say that the love story in Mask of the Phantasm kind of influenced a few of the more dramatic scenes in
Right.
Pirate Hunter,
Yeah.
because there is
I can see
I
that.
like
Yeah.
I'll always say that Pirate Hunter is essentially a love story,
Yeah.
because he's hunting this man for 8 years,
Yeah.
because he killed the woman he loved. I mean, and I won't say any more.
Yeah, yeah.
but but yeah, it's a love story. It's about love and loss and revenge, and I would say redemption as well.
Some nice twists and
Um,
turns in there.
yeah, yeah. You know, the first person, one of my mates read it, and she said she couldn't get over the twists in it. Um, so I'll
Brilliant.
keep those twists going in the second book.
Yeah, yeah. Keep it going.
You know, it's always good to be reading something or watching something, and then you just get a left hand turn out of nowhere. You're like, oh fuck, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So, what are you currently reading,
Um,
and would you recommend any of them?
I'm currently reading two books at the moment. The first book I'm reading, and I started it a while back, is Lord of the Rings. Actually,
Oh, that's been on
um,
my list for
I
so
kind of
long.
flick read it when I was. It's so immersive. Like the way he describes things in the book, it's just. It, I don't know how to describe it. Really, it's unconventionally brilliant.
Yeah,
It's like I think that's the best way to describe it because when he's detailing out when the hobbits are leaving the Shire for the first time,
yeah,
you feel like you're there, you know, because he describes everything in the surrounding area. Like he's a gift for description. And I read The Hobbit a bunch of times in my teenage years, and I think I was, the first time I read it, I was about maybe 12 or 13. But uh, you wouldn't think it's the same guy almost
right.
because Lord of the Rings is so descriptive.
Yeah,
Um, it's if you watch there's a there's an animated film of Lord of the Rings from the 1970s by Ralph Bakshi.
I seen that. Yeah,
Yeah, oh my god! And look, it's one of these films you either love it to bits or you hate it. It's become kind of a comfort watch of mine, to be honest. But there's more. There's lines in that animated film that aren't in the Jackson trilogy that came straight from the book. And the Jackson trilogy has scenes that were chopped and changed.
yeah.
You know, now mind you, I started it about 2 months back, and I'm only at book two of Fellowship of the Ring because Fellowship of the Ring is 3 books long.
Right. Yeah,
Um, at the other, but it is brilliant. Like I am enjoying it. It's just it's such a brick of a book that I don't really carry it around with me.
yeah.
It's only when I'm at home that I actually flick through it. But the second one I'm reading it's a detailing on. There's a man who I'm actually a descendant of. He's an ancestor of mine. His name is Thomas Francis Marr.
Yeah.
And he's the man who brought the tricolour to Ireland in 1848.
Right.
And we did our ancestry in my family, and my dad is on my mum's side, my granddad is from Waterford, and he's a Quan, and it, it turns out the Quans from Waterford are descendants of this man, Thomas Francis Marr, who he brought over the Irish flag from France because he was mayor of Waterford. The French Revolution happened. He went over, talked to the French people about this thing because he wanted. I think he wanted a revolution. I'm reading this book, but there's so many things in it. I haven't completed it yet. But he comes back to Ireland with the flag. He flies it over Waterford, and then he's exiled by the British to Van Diemen's Land,
Yeah.
never to return to Ireland. And then after he was in Van Diemen's Land, he went over to America and fought in. I don't know if you've heard this term. Well, you would have heard it because you're Irish. You know the Fighting Irish.
Yeah.
Like the Fighting Irish was a garrison, the Fighting 69th in New
Yeah.
York, and he was the brigadier general in that garrison.
Right.
So this man lived a life. I mean, I couldn't believe like this. He's part of my ancestry. Like, and so I'm reading the book on him because I want to be able to tell my family members who don't really know much about him, like what actually happened in his
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And yeah, he is. So yeah, they're the two books I'm reading at the moment.
Very interesting.
um,
So would
yeah,
you
so like
recommend
it's
both of those?
I would recommend Lord of the Rings for sure. I think that if you claim to be a diehard fan of the films, I think read the book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There's a lot in there for you, but to a certain extent, you have to disassociate the films
yeah.
from what you're reading.
Just see them
For
as two
example, like
separate things.
yeah, like when they're escaping the Shire and all this, because I'm at Rivendell right now, um, and there's a lot more dialogue and description and things and stops that they make along the way, and all of that is cut for time in the films. Not all of it, but a lot of the dialogue, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'll let you know when I finally finish it, and we can have a full talk about it.
yeah, that'd be awesome for sure. Is there a particular comic book storyline that you think would make a really good adaptation? Something that they haven't done before that would make a good movie or TV show? So anything that you're like clamoring for?
That I hope the big studios make.
Yeah, it's something that hasn't been done before, like a particular comic book storyline.
Well, I wouldn't want this in live action, but I would want it in uh, probably really big budget 2D animation. I would say. I think it's time for a Kingdom Come animated film.
Oh, how good would that be?
Man, have you read it?
Oh yeah, I have it here. Yep.
Oh my God, it's first of all the artwork is just insanely good,
It looks like it
and
would have taken them a fucking decade to get that done.
oh my God, it's like it's you know what it was to me, right? Now I grew up on DC, right? Batman was always my favorite growing up, and I grew up with Marvel as well. Obviously, I'm a fan of both. But if you're kind of unhappy with the DC films right now, and say you miss you miss certain aspects of the older flicks, read Kingdom Come, because it gives you such a happy conclusion to Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Mm,
I don't think there is a happier ending for them ever has been written.
there you go. Yeah.
It's just so good. Like
Yeah.
you're reading the end of it, and Jesus, you're nearly moved to tears because it's
Yeah.
very very well written.
Yeah, it's very well done. Is there
Mm.
anything coming out you're excited for? Any of these new trailers that have been shown that you think, oh man, that looks great?
Oh damn, that's a good question. Uh,
Is there any?
I'm sorry, go on.
Is there any? Yeah, anyone in particular? You think, oh man, that looks like it's going to be great.
Uh, well, I was very excited for Gladiator 2. I was skeptical at first, but then I was like, okay, look, um, maybe it could work. It's not going to be the masterpiece that the first one was, but it could add up to it at least. Well, not add up to it, but it could be just a good film. And how I would describe it is like it's like Clash of the Titans level good, you know.
Right.
It's not like it's not the absolute masterpiece the first film was, but it's like it's fine. It's like popcorn's cinema version
Just
of the first one.
watchable.
Yeah, it's watchable, and so that one kind of delivered for me. It satisfied because I was expecting it to be shite, to be honest, but I have to say I did enjoy it. With stuff that's about to come out though.
Yeah, we'll say like
uh,
DC or Marvel stuff coming out. Is there any that have gotten your attention?
Doomsday has definitely got my attention.
Right.
um, Avengers Doomsday, because of the lineup that they announced. I mean, it's all the original. Well, it's like who's in it? Like Ryan Reynolds is in it, so we know that Deadpool shows up at some point.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are coming back. Robert Downey is coming back as Doctor Doom, which is very controversial of a
It's
decision, to be
insane, isn't it?
honest.
It's insane.
It is. I think it's kind of one of the dumbest things they've ever done, but they must have a pretty damn good plan.
To be honest,
Because I
it
think
feels a bit like desperation, a little bit.
I felt that as well when they announced it. I'm like, right, you're just trying to get the old fans back, but
Yeah, yeah,
simultaneously by announcing that you're pissing off all the fans who had to watch him die. You
yeah.
know?
Because Tony Stark had a great conclusion to his arc, and I just want to leave it
Yeah.
there. You know.
Well, sure. I mean, if you haven't seen Endgame, it's like it's been out for years. Like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah. We
Yeah,
will
no, he
do a
was
spoiler
he.
warning for everything just in case, but like, people should have seen it by now.
I know. Yeah, look, if you like your comics, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What other movies are you watching? But yeah, I think he had a pretty good arc. He went from being this absolute selfish prick in the first few films to like completely selfless
Yeah.
by
I
the time
I like his
Endgame came
character
around.
writing.
And
His character writing throughout the movies, I think, has been mostly really good. Just he'd be one of my favorites.
yeah, I do like there's things I really love about the MCU flicks. But what I found about it was like when you watch Endgame, that's like the conclusion for the fans who started with Iron Man when it came out in cinema.
Yeah.
That age bracket, or the people who just grew up and followed the story as it was coming out. And I think Endgame was like the main course for all that build up. And after that, the film that I watched after that was Spider-Man No Way Home. And so I kind of felt like, here's your dinner, and No Way Home's your dessert.
Yeah, yeah, I
Because
get you.
I don't know how they're gonna keep the old fans still around for much longer unless they bring back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield for a team
Yeah.
up film. And to be fair to them, it worked. It wasn't actually a bad flick.
Joe, I
I thought
enjoyed
No
it,
Way Home
and
was
it's one of
pretty
those
decent.
like,
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about all this nostalgia bait stuff, but I'm not immune
Mm.
to it either. You know what I mean?
No,
I,
exactly. Yeah, I'll
yeah, I was
indulge
like,
it.
when Toby Maguire shows up, I'm like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. And I brought my girlfriend, and I managed to keep all the secrets from her. Do you know what I mean? So she didn't know they were going to show up.
Mm.
Like most people, I think. I think they hid that pretty well.
They did actually. For a big budget production, there was a lot of uncertainty about it. It was like, you're
Yeah,
not showing us anything in the trailer. You're
yeah,
showing us
yeah.
Doc Ock and Green Goblin, but it's like not a single shred of the two Spider-Mans in the trailer.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so fair play to them. Like that mustn't have been easy
yeah.
to pull that off.
And I love the way they put in the Norman Osborn meme. I'm something of a scientist. I thought,
Oh
oh,
my god.
that's like
Yeah.
legends.
I know, I can't believe you said that, but yeah, I know it worked so well.
Are
Um,
you planning on attending conventions with Pirate Hunter?
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I went to MiniCon Drogheda there about, Jesus, must be about a year ago now, or maybe 2 years ago, and I was cosplaying at the time. But I noticed that there was a lot of local creators and um,
First of all,
like
um,
action figure makers, and I was
first of
like,
all,
okay, when my book comes out, I could do
first of
this.
all,
Sorry, yeah, go on.
what did you cosplay as before we move on? That's important.
Uh, I shouldn't have said anything because this could get me in trouble.
Oh no! Oh god!
But I'll tell you, I cosplayed as Daredevil, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I went through a massive big cosplay phase there a while back, but
Well, you need to get
I
back
feel
into
like I'm
that.
kind of. I mean, yeah, maybe, but I want to be at the convention as a writer from now on.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
exactly.
because
So,
with a cosplayer, I'm.
are there any conventions in particular you're looking at?
Well, there's mini cons. I get notifications for them in Navan and Kells and Dundalk, and
Yeah.
I've spoken to the organisers before, and they're lovely people. They're just like us, like
Oh, they're very
comic book
sound.
heads,
Yeah,
and
the guys who put together
yeah.
the mini cons are lovely people, and they do a great job with it. I've been to two now. I was
Mm.
at the Kingscourt one and the Navan one. Kingscourt one I was delighted with because it's literally a 15-minute walk from my house.
All right.
I was like, it's so good to do a convention and not have to do like a 2-hour drive home. Just, Dad, pop me back home, please. That's it.
Yeah, like even the Navan one, like I was walking around it going, right, it's not that big, but the amount of people that are here,
Mm.
like all these like-minded individuals are just gathering up, and
Oh, so
they're
fun.
just enjoying your day, like, and talking to all these comic book people. It's a great way to like it. If you're one of these people who's a bit cagey about the fact that you read comics, which that's a phase I went through when I was kind of younger. I didn't really broadcast it too much because it's such a niche kind of thing.
I
But
was the
these
same.
conventions that go around the country, especially MiniCon, like they're they're very good for that. You know, you
Yeah.
meet a lot of really nice people at them.
And they're doing them in places that wouldn't
Yeah, I think I
typically
will.
have a lot of those kind of things going for
Mm,
them, you know?
yeah, like you know the organizers and stuff. So maybe like I don't know. Maybe we could have a table side by side each other or something. That would be
That'd be
pretty cool.
good, yeah. Sure, that's where we met. I met you. I had a table at Navan Comic Con, and
That's right.
You
Yeah.
came up to the table, yeah, and that's how we organized this, essentially.
Yeah, I got your book and I read it, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'd recommend it to people out there. This man is not just an interviewer; he's actually a pretty decent novelist.
Thank you very
I did
much.
enjoy going, and I read it, and my girlfriend read it, and she really liked it as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, hopefully we'll see you at some conventions throughout the years.
yeah, I hope so. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing them in the locations where the bookshops are that are selling my book in the country. So, for
Yeah,
example, like there's a bookshop in not Galway. It's Mayo. Sorry, yeah, Mayo, and there's the one in Limerick. So if there's conventions on around that area, I might try and get in there because I'll be able to boost the well, help the book sell in these areas, you know. So
yeah. There's more
it
and
gets
more.
around more.
There's more and more conventions popping up. It's great, like because you've never had as many options before as you do now. Like even like the mini cons, they're like Navan's just down the road for me. King's Court is just down the road for me. Um, the one in Kells, stuff like that. So it's great. You have so many options now.
Yeah, it is, and I'm glad to see it growing. Because I've been to the Dublin one twice, and I went to the one in Liverpool twice as well, and that was class. And then I went to a few of the mini cons. Sorry, and it is really good to see more and more of them show up around the place because there's like a gamers con now.
Yeah,
My brother-in-law went to that. He said it was class. Um, I think there's like anime ones and things, and the more and more of these things get around, the bigger the community grows, and then like writers like myself and yourself and other Irish writers would really hugely benefit from that because we could like probably but do two things. We can make people aware of our work, and we might inspire young writers and artists to
yeah,
write their work.
yeah, yeah. I've gotten some
Um,
messages like that were great, where it's like they really enjoyed something, and then they ask me questions about, oh, how do I go about starting something like this, and it's brilliant.
yeah, like
Um,
look, I mean, I'm thinking of like giving classes, like maybe at the end of this year, early next year, depending on how my schedule works out, because my week is pretty busy as it is, you know. But
yeah,
I intend on giving classes on comic book art because now that I've done the graphic novel, I know where all the pitfalls are,
yeah,
uh, and like what to steer clear of along the way because like I went to a few publishers, for example, and I went to them during in like 2020, 2023, and I just pitched the artwork. I was like, "Oh, do you want to publish this?" But it wasn't ready. Like the book wasn't actually ready. I was just
yeah.
saying, like, "Do you want to publish this from me?" It's like I'm so glad that a few of them said no because otherwise it wouldn't be exactly the way I want it.
Yeah, I've been there myself where I'm kind of like, that turned out to be a good thing, you know?
Yeah, and you know, self-publishing is probably a pretty good decision as well. I found it to be a good decision because nobody has their fingers in my book.
Yeah.
You know, saying like, "Oh, you got to take that out." It's like, no, it's just fucking mine. I'll put whatever I want in
Yeah.
it.
No, I over the years I have worked with some editors that I feel just don't have a good grasp on storytelling, and it can be frustrating. But they're more looking, at things from the point of view of like, what would sell, what would this, and like
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes you get
yeah,
suggestions like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this happened at the end or that happened at the end? And I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool, I guess, but it breaks the story. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. It's like it's not the kind of message I'm trying to
Yeah, yeah.
tell people. It's not the story I'm trying to tell. Yeah, but the thing about self-publishing is that you're doing it the hard way. You
Yeah.
really are because a publishing firm will distribute it and market it for you. If you're self-publishing, you have to do that all yourself.
Oh,
And
there's so much to do in that aspect.
oh man, I'm in the marketing phase now, and I never thought I'd get here because this time last year I was in getting the money together to print the damn thing. Now I'm in the marketing phase, and I think it's the hardest step to do.
Oh yeah.
Because you know, there's people you can reach out to, like yourself, and different outlets where you can talk about it. But the main thing is you have to get some traction on social media, which
absolutely
is no easy thing when, you know, people can just flick right past it when they're scrolling.
Well, that was
Do you
one
get
of
me?
the you know, the main reason I wanted to start this channel is because doing the con scene over the years and seeing so many talented people who just aren't getting a chance to really talk about their work, and just wanted to put a spotlight on them. Like, there's a lot of
it's a
really
great thing you're doing. It's a really great thing that you're doing, because
thank you very
we're
much.
the underdogs, really.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you know, you kind of have to band together.
We're like, you know, the managers are like, okay, say you're in a workplace. The managers are the publishers. We're the union. You know?
I think Caesar from Planet of the Apes said it best. I got this from another independent creator. It's like apes together strong, basically. But yeah,
No,
that's it. But the
sorry.
amount of talented independent creators in this country is insane. There's so many.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. There's really a lot of them. And when I was doing research on Irish graphic novelists, I did read a few of their works, and there's some serious talent out there, man.
Yeah.
That when I was trying to get the book into Forbidden Planet, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to give someone a shout out here.
Go for it.
But
that's what we're all about.
There's a guy called Barry O'Sullivan who I was in correspondence with to get the book in Forbidden Planet, and he has 3 graphic novels behind him.
Yeah.
You know, so it's part 1, 2, and 3. It's called A Fool's Campaign. And I bought all 3 of them because I was like, oh, right, it's called a medieval fantasy. I didn't even cop that the name on the book was Barry O'Sullivan when I picked it up and bought it. It's only when I brought it to the till, it's like, oh, that's Barry. So I was like, oh, no, wait, it's the man I've been emailing this whole time. I had no idea that he wrote 3 graphic novels.
That's funny.
And so I brought them home and read them, and sure enough, they're fucking brilliant. And but yeah, it's just mad. Like, I think there's more people out there in the sphere that have these ideas and do nothing with them than the few who do. And I'm gonna call yous out here. I know yous are out there. There's people out there who have these original character designs, and they want to tell the stories of these characters. And yous know who yous are, because when I was in animation college, like, everyone had their own original characters and ideas.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people get scared because they don't have $1 million studio to animate their movie that they want to make with these characters, or shoot this live action film with these characters that they want to do. And that's why I'd encourage people to learn the format of comics, because if you can hand draw your characters talking to each other and doing action scenes with each other, then you can tell the story exactly how you want it to be told, because you're writing it in your words and drawing it in your art. Yeah. And you don't need a multi-million-dollar studio. Like, when you think about it, when you're writing a comic, you have a multi-million-dollar movie on the budget of 0 in the palm of your hands. Yeah. Because you can draw anything. You can't always shoot everything.
Yeah.
But, you know, making a film, a big budget production, is a hard thing to do, and there's a lot of things that get in the way of that.
Yeah.
But writing a comic, you can do that yourself. You just got to learn the kind of the format of comics, I would say.
That's one of the,
because there is a certain format.
Yeah, that was one of the exciting things for me starting out. One of my first published works was just a 5 or 6 page short story, and I got to work with my brother, who is a phenomenal artist, and the things he can draw, like, as you say, like, I can't just film that, or that would cost a fortune.
No.
And he's just, you know, so talented. He can just do these incredible images, and yeah.
Well, look, yeah, I mean, like, the day I realized that I have this massive multi-million-dollar film in the palm of my hand, if I wanted to be that, kind of impacted the ending of Pirate Hunter.
Right.
Because if you've read the ending, like I had two choices when it came to the 6 chapters, and when it came to chapter 6, I had two options. I could either wrap it up nice and neat and tidy and go kind of low energy, happy ending, and then move on to the next book. Or I can do this enormous spectacle of an ending,
Ramp it up.
or
Yeah.
absolutely amp it up and just fucking destroy shit everywhere. And I was
I
like,
like
hang on
that
a minute,
option.
why don't I just fucking do that? And the next thing you know, that's what I went with. But the only downside of it is once you do a giant ending like that, you have to follow it up with a sequel because then people want to know what happens
Oh,
next.
absolutely. For sure. You can't just leave it like that.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, look. So look, if you have your character designs and you want to write stories about your own individual characters that you've come up with in your head, learn how to write a comic because
Yeah,
you can
go for it.
tell your
Like,
story.
yeah,
That's
and
what I would say to
don't be afraid to
artists.
just get your stuff
Mm,
out there. You know, go for it. Give it a shot.
yeah, yeah. It's really good to see when I do get messages. Well, since Pirate Hunters come out, I have gotten messages from young lads who have like a couple of posts on their Instagram of drawings that they've done, and they're like, "I've been sitting on this graphic novel for a while, and I'm after picking up yours, and I see what you've after doing, and now I'm back working on mine."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Damn, that's just God. If that doesn't light up your week as a writer, nothing will."
Oh, that's yeah.
You
It's
know, yeah,
so good.
I love seeing moments like that. You know, it's a massive highlight once someone reaches out and says that to you. It's that it's like, okay, so now in the future, I can expect something from this person.
Yeah, yeah. And
You
could you
know, it's
imagine
great.
like that person like making it really big and you being a big part of that?
Well, look, I mean, if I just hope that if he does get into trouble, he asks me a few more things, and if there are other artists writing comics, do not be afraid to message Tales of Centiverse on Instagram because I will personally walk you through the process if you're stuck.
That's amazing.
I, d- I don't mind doing it, and I'd be happy to do it because this is a community when you think about it of writers and illustrators, and
Mhm.
the more the merrier. We're
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
building we're building an army. Let's do
Exactly. They can't ignore us for much longer.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, when you think about it, like, this could, if this whole thing of indie Irish creators becomes a massive big deal, if and becomes more mainstream in Ireland, like, we've added to Irish literature,
Yeah, there you go.
and that's in the. I know Ireland doesn't have a massive comic book scene, but that could happen,
Yeah.
and I really hope it does.
But the comic book scene
Yeah.
in Ireland is, it might be small, but it's quite passionate.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like there's a few publishers and uh, there's people like Limit Break and Rogue Comics and Newton Bat, and these guys are fucking hard workers. Like by looking at their websites and stuff, it's like these lads have been at this for years,
Yeah.
and they're not giving up anytime soon. And so I just take my hat off to all of them. If
Yeah.
if they are creators out there and you're trying to build a franchise, just keep going.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great to see. Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Mm.
probably have answered this already, but what is your next project and when is it going to be released? Do you have a title for the next book?
I
Or
can
maybe you
announce
don't
the
want to
title.
say.
I can announce the title now if you want.
Oh, exclusive.
There is a small little teaser of a poster at the end of Pirate Hunter. Um, so anyone who has picked up the book will know the title already. But you know what? Yeah, I'll just say it now. It's called Rise of Kitairo.
Yeah.
So I
And the
think I'm
really
gonna add currently it's Rise of Kitairo, but it's a working title, so it might be Rise of Kitairo Pirate Hunter Part Two.
yeah.
Uh, just so people know, like it's not like it's its own standalone story.
It's
I wouldn't
continuing
want to
on.
give people that impression. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
do
it
you have
is
a release date for that?
not confirmed at the moment
Yeah.
because, to be honest, if I wanted to split it up into two parts, I could release part one in the next 6 months, and then maybe part two in another 6 months. But I think I would rather it be one book. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'll hold a petition online, see if see if people want Rise of Katairo Part 1 out by Christmas 2025, or if they just want the full thing. We'll see. We'll see what people say.
See what the
I really
people
can't
say.
make up my mind.
Yeah. I've been there as well,
It's
where
one
you're just bouncing back and forth. Do it this way, do it that way. Yeah.
I know, creative decisions, man, they'll haunt you.
Just ask your son. Let
But
him
yeah, I do
decide.
think that I'll be like, right, what do you think? What do you think, son? Will I do Part 1 and Part 2?
Sitting
But then
down.
it's not a trilogy. Then it's like 4 books. That's the only thing.
A trilogy of 4. You're like, Dad, you can't count.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, but if I do release it in Part 1 and Part 2, then afterwards the next release will have to be the full edition
Yeah. That'll be chunky.
of it. So yeah, I really don't know. I'm stuck with this decision because Part 1 is pretty much almost fully illustrated. Almost, I say, like it needs a bit of work, but the first draft is nearly finished. So I don't know. I'm really stuck with this decision because if I release Rise of Katairo Part 1, I'm pretty fucking sure people will come back for the second one, because in the first book I introduced you to these characters, and in this book I put them to the test, and their pasts catch up with them. Let's just say.
I'm really excited to check that out.
Well, I really hope you read it, because you know, as a writer, I think it is the best thing I'm ever going to write for the rest of my life.
Wow.
I don't want to be dramatic, but it's
So
like
you're gonna peak.
I just can't get over how happy I am with this project so far.
Well, that's fantastic to be that excited about your own work. Like, it's great.
Like, I'm sure you've had these moments though when you're writing where you're like, I can't fucking believe how well this is turning out to be.
My next thing, which is, it's late. It should have been out months ago, but things got in the way, and here we are. But it should be out in the next 2 weeks. But I'm so fucking happy with how it turned out. Every time, like, I was doing edits, I just get roped into the story again and just start reading it as, you know, someone who's just enjoying the story.
Yeah, I know it's hard not to enjoy your own work when it's actually good. Like, you know,
I'm my own favorite author.
It going, that's so stupid, and then you end up not tearing up pages, but tearing out pages from the book.
Yeah.
But it's good, man, and it's great to enjoy your own work. Like,
yeah, like yourself, I think this is my best work so far. We'll see if I can top it in the next one, but so far,
I know, yeah.
So far, I think it's my best work.
I mean, I'm doing this trilogy, and so far the second one is like, it's going to dwarf the first one. Like, the first one is its own book, and as far as I'm aware, people are enjoying it, so that's great. I can't say it's brilliant or it's excellent myself, because that'd be a bit, you know, selfish or whatever. But people are enjoying the first one, and that's really good to see.
Yeah.
But the second one, I promise, is going to dwarf the first one.
Brilliant. You're going to have to say that about the third one when that comes out, so people...
I know, yeah. But look, marketing's the hardest part, man. You know this.
Third book comes out, man. This is by far the best thing I've ever done. It's dwarfed the second one.
Oh, God, yeah. What am I going to say?
Just keep going like that just keep going like that for each release.
Yeah, I know. Like, we're on book 6, and I'm like, this is the best thing I'm ever going to write. It's like...
You're going to get messages from people saying, actually, I preferred the first one.
Oh, well, look, I mean, that'd be nice too, you know, but me personally, I've kind of honed my skills a little bit more, and I'm just a lot happier with where this one is at, because in the first one, I think you can see the evolution of my drawing skills from very, very amateur to a little bit more skilled up and a little bit more dynamic, whereas in this one I think I've pretty much honed my style.
That's brilliant. Well, you've really sold it to me for sure. So Jack, where can people find you and your work?
Well, there's 8 shops that are selling it, and if you live in these counties in Ireland, you'll be able to get them. I'll start with my hometown. I'm from Skerries originally, and there's 2 locations that are selling it there, Goat and a Boat Cafe and Skerries Mills. And actually, Skerries Mills was the first place it sold out. And the day I picked up that check was it was Victory Day. I haven't even cashed it yet. I've kept it in a frame. But
Oh, that's cool.
so there's those two shops in Skerries. In Dublin, there's Dublin City Comics and Forbidden Planet, which I think people know if you're a comic book reader. There's a shop in Limerick called Steamboat Records, and this guy's shop is cool. It's really cool because he sells like all these back issues, like old comics but like single issues.
Yeah.
So it's not like just titles organized neatly. It's boxes and boxes of comics, like old school comics, and it's great. And it's selling there. That's in Limerick. There's a shop in Mayo in Castlebar called The Bookmark.
Yeah.
And that's. Am I getting that? I'm getting that right. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, it's just distributing this book. I don't have my ledger in front of me, so I'm just trying to remember them.
What's the name of your website?
There's two more shops. So there's the Bookhaven in. The Bookhaven is in Mayo, and the Bookmark in Ashburn are the other two. And if you live up in Northern Ireland, you can get it in Angry Cherry, which is a comic book shop in Derry. I think that name is gas, by the way. Angry Cherry up in Derry. That's a brilliant.
It's cool. That should be in their advert
as well.
So if you're
absolutely sound.
If you're near any of those places, go check Jack's book out. And what's the name of your website?
The name of the website is talesofcentiverse.com. So you can get it there, and I do discounts and promo codes every so often, and you can actually get a bit of merchandise. The merchandise base is building. There's only a couple of posters at the minute, but soon enough there'll be the likes of stickers and keychains and t-shirts, and that's on the way.
Fantastic. So, there'll be a link to Jack's website in the description. And what's your social media? Where can people follow you?
Well, you can. The main base where I tend to answer things and where I tend to market is on Instagram, and the @ is @tales_of_Centiverse. So if you just type in Tales of Centiverse on Instagram, it should come up. You'll see a picture of the cover of Pirate Hunter, and that's where you can talk to me directly if you want to about what you thought of the book, or about if you've any questions about your own publications, or if you just want a bit of a chat. So that'll be the main one. There is a Twitter page, but God, Jesus, try and get any traction on Twitter, man. I defy anyone to try and sell a comic on Twitter.
I deleted my Twitter a little while ago. I had most of my followers were on that. I deleted it a few years ago, but I just couldn't stand being on it anymore.
Man, look, it's the best place to go for an argument.
Well, that's it.
Otherwise, no, I barely look at the Twitter anymore myself because I just get annoyed sometimes. But yeah, it's mainly on Instagram, so it'll be Tales of Centiverse is where you can find it.
Yeah, same myself. My main one is Instagram these days @Stephen Carey Stories. And there'll be links in the description to all that. So thank you so much to Jack for jumping on. This has been a great chat. If the book looks interesting to you, I would highly suggest checking it out. I thought it was a load of fun. I think I don't think you'll regret picking it up. I think it's a great fun read. And we shall definitely have Jack on again at some stage. Certainly to talk about the sequel, which he has bigged up. And Jack might jump on again as a regular guest for some fun stuff, if Jack's up for that. What do you reckon?
I would absolutely be up for that. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. Okay, if you want to hear more interviews...
Could I just mention one more thing? I just want to say thank you to all the people who have supported this project so far, and big thank you to Skerries News for writing the article about it in December, and also a big massive thank you to Heroes for Hire podcast. They're two guys and they do a comic book podcast on Spotify, and they talk about comic book history and they cover news about comic book films and all this. They've given me a 2-minute shout out on their last episode, and that meant really a lot to me. And everyone who's been supportive and sent messages, and everyone who has bought the book and enjoyed it, and just everyone who has showed support for this project, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it really means the world to me.
That's fantastic.
So that's just what I wanted to end on.
That's perfect.
Thank you, Stephen.
No
Thanks
worries.
for this
It's been an
opportunity.
absolute pleasure to have you on. Really enjoyed the book, and I look forward to following your progress as you go. If you enjoyed this interview and you want to hear more from independent creators, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments you plan on checking out Jack's book. And the answer should be yes. So I want lots of yeses in the comments. And
thanks, guys. Well, I hope I haven't fumbled this interview too much. I'm not really used to doing this kind of thing, so I probably battered on
I'm still
about
getting
a few
used to it
things,
myself. Yeah, I'm still getting used to it myself. I'm like fumbling through my note, but you know, it is what it is.
I did one interview over the phone once, and I completely just stuttered, and they put it in verbatim, word for word, what I said. So this was a lot easier to do, because
You're like, at least edit out some of that.
yeah.
I don't edit.
I didn't mess up.
I just put it up because one, I'm not sure if I can edit. I'm not very good with technology. It's a wonder I can do this, but maybe in the future I'll learn to edit.
Windows Movie Maker, man, it's the best place to learn.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jack, and I should be back next week with another video. Cheers, everyone. Goodbye.
Thanks, Stephen.